Hi, this is John from Proper Coils, and today we're having a look at the Arbiter 2 RTA from Oxva. So here we have the Arbiter 2 RTA by Oxva. This is the new version of their very successful Arbiter RTA. It is a slightly shrunk down version of the original. So this one is in matte black and it's 5mm capacity, 5mm capacity with the bubble tank, and it's 3.5mm capacity with the straight glass. It says here 100% leak proof. I don't know if it's 100% leak proof, but it's top airflow, and most top airflow RTAs or RDAs are fairly leak proof. And it says here fan shaped airflow, so we'll have a look at that when we open up the deck. Before I open it up, I just like to say thanks to Daredevil over on Instagram for sending this on for review. So I'll leave his link to his Instagram down here on the bottom. Make sure you go check out his Instagram. On the side here we have designed by Justin Lee. On this side we have Oxva. On the back here we have content. So it's obviously you have the Arbiter 2 RTA, and the diameter is 24.5 mil at the base, but it's tapered from 26 mil. It comes with a straight glass tube and a bubble tank and 2 accessory bags and the user manual. And here you have your usual warnings, your scratch and check, and your serial number. And we'll open up the box. In the box you have your baggie with your Allen key and your O-rings, black and clear O-rings. You have your warranty card. You have a baggie with eyelet, cotton, and a set of triple core fused claptons, 3 cores of 28 gauge nichrome wrapped in 40 gauge, and the low mount at 0.4 ohms, dual coil, 6 wraps, 3mm inner diameter. We won't be using those, we'll be using some proper coils. You have your user manual and a baggie of silica, and your RTA, and your straight glass. We'll be using the bubble glass. I will give it a zoom in. So the top here you have a 810 on the top, and it's a clear O-ring on the inside. The drip tip is looser than I'd like. It's not going to just randomly fall off, but it did pop off in my pocket a couple of times when I was using this. I've been using this tank for about 10 days. So if you see any blemishes or water or juice, it's from my use. It was in good condition when I got it. So I would prefer if the drip tip was a bit tighter. The drip tip itself isn't the issue. I think the dimensions of the 810 is slightly too big, because this drip tip fitted very good in any other RTAs or RDAs I've tried in. On the top here we have a bayonet fitting, so quarter turn, and she pops off, and you have 2 large kidney shaped holes to fill your tank. Very good. Your airflow is 2 cyclops openings on both sides, and it has a locking mechanism, so you can't spin it fully, and there's a bit of grippage there on the sides. On the side of the barrel then you have your Oxva or Arbiter logo and Oxva Arbiter on the side. I would prefer no markings on the side. I prefer cleaner looking RTAs, but it's not the worst I've seen. On the base here you have Arbiter 2, CE, your CE mark, your Don't Vape in a Bin, Justin Lee, and a date, which I presume is your production date. The 510 is protruding, which means you can use this safely on a hybrid mechanical mod. So the tip of your 510 is protruding more than the stainless steel threads, so safe to use on a regulated or unregulated device. So we'll open her up and look at the chamber. So on the inside here, you have this mechanism which spins similar to the first Arbiter RTA. On the first Arbiter RTA, this actually popped out, but on the Arbiter 2, it is fixed in there. It's like riveted in there, so it still spins. It'll still turn, but it won't pop out like the original. It probably could be machined slightly better in there. It's not the best machine I've seen, but it's not the worst either. So it's a fairly budget. It's budget priced, so you don't expect it to be immaculate. So it's not too bad. It's not no major issues with the machine in there. So the deck is very different to the original. I'll actually have the original here beside me. I'll show you. So this is the original Arbiter. So it was 28mm, whereas this one is now 24.5. So you can see there's a fair difference between both. And the deck on the original isn't a postless like the Arbiter 2. It is. Here we go. This was the original deck, so as you can see, it's very different to the new one. The new one reminds me of the Intake Dual RTA by Mike Vapes, or the Blotto by Vape and Bogan. It has the side walls, and it has like undercoil airflow or side on airflow. Similar to those two RTAs, and those two RTAs are very good for flavor, and I'd expect this to be the same. So they've drastically changed the deck. This is a very different style of a deck. Your airflow was coming in between your posts, whereas on the new one, your airflow is coming in these fans or fan style holes here on the side. So your airflow will come in. Your airflow will come in from here. It'll travel through and down these two channels here, and then it will hit these holes here. So you're going to be hitting your coil side on and underside on, not directly under, sort of this direction here. So diagonally under and side on. It is a postless deck, and it has plenty of room for 3mm, two 3mm coils. I've tried 3 different builds in this. So I tried 2.5 dual coil, I've tried 3mm dual coil, and 4mm single coil. The 3mm dual coil and 4mm single coil worked very well. One thing I will say is when you are wicking your dual coil 3mm coils, make sure you rake them out plenty. There isn't a massive amount of room to fit your cotton in here, so make sure you thin out your coils a lot. Otherwise you're going to be trying to stuff a lot of cotton into the channel here, and it might struggle to wick. Wicking wise, I would recommend just below the threads. Don't stuff it right down to the bottom, otherwise it'll struggle to wick again. So try and get it flush to the bottom of the threads, and you should be good. And give it a good rake. So we're going to be throwing some Fralians in this. Fralians obviously have proper coils, so these are 6 pieces of 0.3 Kanthal ribbon, framed with 2 cores of 28 gauge nichrome. And it's wrapped in 38 gauge nichrome, and it's going to omit dual coil around the 0.12 mark, and inner diameter is 3mm. And here's what they look like. We're going to be popping these into the Arbiter 2. So let's pop some coils in. So that's all wicked up, coiled up, and juiced up. Let's bring it back up top, and I'll give you my pros and cons of the Arbiter 2 RTA from Oxva. So back up top with the Arbiter 2 RTA from Oxva, sitting in the Odin 250C. Some Fralians sitting at 0.12 and sitting at 70 watts. You give it a vape. So we go through the cons first. So the only main con I have is the drip tip, and it's a small con. Drip tip is fairly loose. It pops off fairly easy. And it's an issue, it's definitely an issue with the dimensions of the A10 on the top of the RTA, because the drip tip itself fits very well in any of my other RTAs or RDAs. So it fits snug. So it's definitely the RTA itself that the dimensions are just slightly out. It's not flying off, but it is it's definitely a little bit loose. The only other con really is the fact that it's tapered at the bottom. It tapers from 26 to 24.5 millimeters. I'd rather if it was just a straight shot and it just was a 26 millimeter RTA. I just think it looks a bit funky, the fact that it bevels in at the bottom. Personal preference, maybe people won't mind that, but it's just something that niggles at me a bit. Otherwise, it's not a bad looking RTA. It's fairly clean looking. I like a clean looking RTA. The branding is not too much in your face. It's fine. I'd rather it wasn't there, obviously, but it's not the worst I've seen. Pros wise, the capacity 5 mil capacity is very good. It's not a massive RTA. The other RTA, the 28 millimeter version, is a lot bigger. It's a tidy looking RTA. The flavor of it is very good. Another pro, I suppose, is the fact that you can put a fat single coil in there. I was using a 4 millimeter Alien in there, and I used that for a few days, and it was really good. The 2.5s are a little bit small in there. You can probably use 2.5s, but I think 2 dual coil 3 millimeters or like a 4 or even a 4.5 single coil works very well. And the fact that you have that versatility is obviously a good thing. There is the fact that it's fairly leak proof. I don't think you can ever say any RTA is 100% leak proof, but it is more or less leak proof. It's top airflow, so you're not going to you're going to find it very, very hard to leak. You'd have to have it sitting upside down for a prolonged period of time for it to leak. So overall, it's a very good RTA. It's basically like a shrunk down version of the original RTA, the 28 millimeter, which sold very well and was very successful. It's very easy to build on. The looks aren't too bad. The build quality is fairly good. It's not going to blow your mind, the machining, but it's like, for the price you're paying like £25 for this. It's not going to break the bank, so you don't expect everything to be perfect, but the build quality and machining is decent. So if you're looking for a 24 or 25 millimeter RTA and the original maybe was too big for you, this might be something for you. I'll give it a few vapes before we finish up. Plenty of flavour and plenty of clouds. That's obviously dependent on your build or what way you build it and what way you have your airflow. I generally always try and build that the airflow on any RTA I'm using is just wide open, so I'm not fiddling about with the airflow. But very good RTA, as usual from Oxva. They're banging out some good products lately. So that's the review of the Arbiter 2 RTA from Oxva. If you are liking the reviews or you like the review, make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell. If you're looking for any handmade coils, make sure you head over to propercoils.com. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again next time.